Hello, everyone. My name is Bradley Collins, and we'll be doing this informative speech today on how to use a fire extinguisher. I won't be demonstrating, but we'll be informing you of the different parts of a fire extinguisher, as well as how to use it, the inspection, the maintenance, but also identifying the types. So first, we'll deal with the types of the fire extinguishers. I have here with me a regular fire extinguisher that you would have in your household. You can see here that you've got a couple different things here on the bottom. Now what that is it will identify what this fire extinguisher actually will put out. So unbeknownst to a lot of people, you can't just pick up any random fire extinguisher and put out a fire. But this one here, you have this right here with a little trash can, a little fire. That would be Class A. Class A is ordinary combustibles, so things like wood, paper, things of that nature. Then right here you go to Class B, which is flammable liquids. And so if you were to have a kitchen fire, a grease fire, things of that nature, this would definitely work for that. But also Class C here, which is an electrical fire. And so you can see here the plug and the outlet. You can see there the gasoline can that is poured out. And then you can see the trash can and then the regular fire right there on the side. But there's also a couple other fire extinguishers that are a little more uncommon. There's one that is going to be Class D, D as in dog, and that one's going to be for your metals, such as magnesium and things of that nature. When you get into that, you're probably going to be either working in a metal shop or it's going to be for car fires. Some of your car engines are made of magnesium, and so that will work on those kind of fires. And then there's a Class K. A Class K, K stands for kitchen. And so when you go into these commercial kitchens that have large deep fryers and things of that nature, they typically have what it would be called a halon system that is installed. That would be Class K. Or they have these very, very large extinguishers hanging on the wall with a special chemical just for kitchen fires of those different high grease points. These little ones here would probably work in your household, but when you get into an industrial kitchen size that you're using gallons and gallons and gallons of that flammable liquid, you definitely need that special K, as we like to call it. The K is in kitchen. But the other part that I wanted to talk to you about for informational purposes is actually how to use this fire extinguisher. So here on the side, you can see there's a pin. And then what you would do is it is attached very well with this little zip tie looking thing. And so you would break that zip tie, you would pull that pin, you aim, and then you squeeze the top part. This bottom part is a hard handle that stays stationary, and then you would press down on that one right there. And so that would be how you use that. And so we use a phrase, PASS, pass. And so you pull the pin, you aim the extinguisher, you squeeze the extinguisher, and then you sweep back and forth to make sure that that extinguisher gets all of the fire that is there. And lastly, I want to look at maintaining a fire extinguisher. So this little extinguisher here, these are the ones you can pick up at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. They're probably 25 to 30 bucks. They last you a pretty good while. Typically, a fire extinguisher is good for about 8 to 10 years. Typically, they'll hang on to their charge. But you see here on the little gauge here that it's in the green. Green means go. You get it in the red, that means it's kind of lost its charge. It's not really going to be good. It might discharge a little bit, but it's not going to work the full potential. So every now and again, what you want to do to maintain these is you'll turn it upside down. Inside of these is a chemical agent. And so fire needs a couple different things in order to survive: oxygen, heat, a fuel source, and a chemical reaction, those four things. And so the chemical agent that's inside of these, actually, what it's trying to do and what its plan and purpose is to remove the oxygen from the fire. Sometimes you'll have a extinguisher of this size that you can put out those fires with, and you don't want to breathe it because it tries to draw oxygen away from it. It's that white powder that will come out of these, that chemical agent. If you breathe that, it can definitely cause some respiratory issues. but this is full of a good chemical agent. So in order to maintain those, you just want to turn these upside down every now and again. It shakes up that chemical agent inside, make sure it doesn't clump up. That way you're able to use that extinguisher very well. The other part is the inspection part. As I mentioned, you got the gauge there. You want to make sure that's in working order, not busted and beat up. You want to make sure there's no dents that are in the side of this that might have caused some kind of leak, which if there was a leak, once again, you would see it right here on this little gauge. You want to make sure the nozzle point here is free of any obstructions. There's nothing inside that's going to prevent the flow of that chemical agent from coming. And you also want to make sure your handles are in working order. Make sure that's able to flop around and be ready to push down. And you don't want a broken handle. That's going to probably hinder you from being able to put that fire out in the incident that you would have to put a fire out. So just a couple components of the fire extinguisher there, and just to kind of give a general awareness on how to use one. They do make water cans, so they're just gray pressurized water cans that you can use, and that would be for Class A fires, your trash, your wood burning, paper type materials, things of that nature. Those are really good to practice with that pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep, the PASS that we talked about a few minutes ago. And so if you were able to get your hands on one of those, local fire department would have one that will come out and teach a class for you, show you some other things about fire extinguishers. Some of them have different nozzle heads on them because they have different classifications and ratings. And you can find all that information on the side right here, going down the list of what all this fire extinguisher is capable of doing, the size of the area that it would be able to put out, and some different stuff from the manufacturer. It actually gives a maintenance thing on here as well, which does the same thing that I talked about a few minutes ago. Give it a good shake every now and again, make sure it looks very good. And that is a fire extinguisher in a nutshell. And so I hope this has been an educational and informative video for you. And maybe if you're ever in the situation where you have to use a fire extinguisher, maybe something old Bradley Collins told you will come back and help you out just a little bit. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope this has been informative to you. And this is Bradley Collins.